We are live. Hello. We'll let people trickle in and whatnot, but I'll give my usual spiel. This is the Brown Girl Book Club. This month we read. Do you have the physical copy of the book? I think I saw you post
Yeah,
it, right?
I
Oh,
like
it's
it a
so
lot.
beautiful. Make a Scene by Mimi Grace. We're going to talk about that, and we're not going to get into spoilers till later on. But Alana is with me today, so you introduce yourself. Maybe say what books you would like to read, or like your favorite books, so that way people understand your taste and whatnot.
Okay, so I'm Alana. My channel is the Awkward Book Nerd. I typically, I've been through a wild transition the past year, and I don't know if it's because of like COVID things or what, or my taste is just changing. I used to be mainly like a contemporary reader and like sprinkle in like fantasy, but I've somehow turned into a mainly fantasy reader, so that's been
Yeah,
fun.
we've converted you.
Yeah, so that's literally all I've been reading the past few months. But some of my favorite series, I love and Ember the Ashes series that just finished last year. That one's so good. And then another one that was an all-time fave, which is a debut from last year, is Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. That one I really enjoyed and loved.
I finally got it. I
Yes,
finally got around to getting it. I'm
it's
gonna read it, and I'll tell you as soon as I finish it because I you always talk about it, and I'm gonna read it.
that like is it's so good and like I don't I don't think I've read any black fantasy. That's like the first black fantasy book I've ever read, I think.
You didn't read like Children of Blood and Bone? Like I know it's really
I did
popular.
read Children of Blood and Bone. I'm so
Okay,
sorry.
that's what I thought.
No,
That's okay. That's
like
okay. I feel
it's
like that
so
one
few.
everyone skips over because it's like
Yeah.
we all read that.
Yeah, so it's so few, but that's like the first one. Like Legend War's the first one where I read it and I was like, wow. Like I immediately was like all-time favorite. I was like, it's not nothing's gonna top this right now because I don't even know. It's just and the ending, like no spoilers, but the ending, it like hypes you up for the next book. Where you're just like, I'm so excited to see how everybody reacts to this whole like reveal.
Yeah, I was just reading a
Oh,
comment, and I was
I
like,
read down
right,
into
because
it. See,
you
I'm
were
so
part of that
bad.
messy live show.
I'm so bad for like remembering books I read, obviously, as you can see. But yeah, so I transitioned to a fantasy reader. So those are like two of my. If I have to give a contemporary favorite, I think I would have to choose The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes because it's a really good like YA thriller series that I love. It's like incorporates psychology and kind of like Criminal Minds, so it's a fun one.
That's so fun. Oh my god, I feel like the opposite of you in the sense of I feel like during these last few months I've really gotten into contemporary. I'm like, I don't want to read depressing fantasy right now. I've been upping my manga game and I literally just finished the sweetest book. Wait, let me grab it. Because I feel like no one ever talks about it. All the things we never knew was so cute, and it's about two people who like to play basketball, kind of, sort of, and it's just like this really insta-lovey romance story that talks about trauma a little bit, but it's like they're just the dialogue is so cute. So I'm definitely in a contemporary mood. I'm like, give me all the feels, and that's why today's read chef's kiss. I was like, I need all the just emotional, romantic feelings.
Yeah, I definitely found it super cute. So I was happy we read it.
Mm-hmm.
Legend Blue.
Yeah, saying hi to everyone who's coming in. And then Legend Moore was very similar. Oh, it's the Mortal Instruments. I haven't read the Mortal Instruments.
I
Have you?
mean, I have. I read the first. So I read the first three when they first came. Like they were all first published, and then I didn't know. Like before she announced she was writing three more in that series, I
Mm.
was like, oh, it's done. So I left it alone, and then like 2, 3 years later, I realized she wrote three more books for it, and I haven't gone back because I'm like, I would have to reread because I was like, that's so much different. Like I remember the main things, but not the little things that I'm sure that are gonna play in the later books, and so I'm like. I've been putting it off to
I
read.
like the hiding. You're already hiding.
Yeah,
You're like,
I'm
oh
like
no.
I don't know if I have the energy to try and reread these three
I
books.
haven't started that series because it's just so long and daunting. It's like I'd have to dedicate a couple months to like just
Oh
read
yeah,
straight through all of her series because there's so many subcategories now. But
I have
eventually, maybe.
I have a tentative plan to read Cassie Clare's books this year. I know I said it very confidently at the beginning of the year, but it's become a tentative plan because I'm not as confident anymore because I've been doing
It's like
so
the end of
well.
February. You totally can still.
I know. I mean, I totally can. I can get there since it's just the beginning. But I'm just like now it's tentative because who knows what will happen.
Well, I hope you could still get around to it.
Me
But
too.
then I also want to say, if anyone's finished the book, Make a Scene by Mimi Grace, let me know in the comments and stuff. We're not going to go into spoilers just yet. We'll like do that towards like the halfway point after we chat for a bit. But I'd love to know if you guys finished the book, if you have a rating for the book. I don't think I've decided just yet. Impulsively, I want to give it a 5 stars just because I'm that type of person who's like, that gave me all the feelings, 5 stars. And then later on, I'll be like, okay, maybe it was more like a 4 star.
Yeah, I think I gave it 3 stars.
3 stars?
Yeah, mostly because I liked it and it was cute, but I wish there was more, if that makes sense. Like,
did you see at the end? Okay, this is not a spoiler at all, but there's going to be a spin-off with other characters in the story.
yeah, I saw that, so I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Like, I could sense that this would become like one of those with companion novels of spin-offs because like there were so many characters you met that like you don't really know really what happens to them, and you obviously it makes you want to know more. So I definitely wanted to know more about like these characters. So maybe I'm kind of hoping maybe she'll write another book that comes back later at some point, like maybe just like a mini like thing.
That'd be so cute. I don't know. I literally squealed out loud when I saw that. I was like so happy.
Yeah, or maybe even if we get a check-in like in one of the spin-offs, that would be nice.
Yeah, that'd be so cute. Oh my god. I think I had like very high feelings towards this. Like I thought it was cute, but it was like, yes, it was just what I needed. I don't know. I like recently read To Get a Life, Chloe Brown, and everyone raved about that book. And it's still a good book. Don't get me wrong. No one get mad at me. It's a very good book, but I feel like it talks a lot about chronic illness and since like I have one and I'm not in the best emotional space, it did not give me the romantic vibes I wanted.
Yeah,
And this book did. And I was like, yes.
I can't remember what I rated Chloe Brown, but I don't think I would call it romantic. Like I know it's a romance book, and the relationship is like I think I found it pretty cute for the most part, but I don't know if I would necessarily call it romantic. You know what I mean? If that
yeah. Like I really liked the representation, and like I think the two characters had like they had a connection. It was very obvious, like in the sense of like that romance, like oh they like each other, cute. I'll follow their story, but it didn't give me like quirky lines and like
like I feel like
really visual moments like this book did. I was like,
yeah, I feel like with Make a Scene, I liked the scenes that they had, like that you could literally feel the chemistry coming off the page. So like that was something I did enjoy because I feel like with some romances, like you can tell the characters have a connection, but sometimes you can't feel it. Like you know what I mean? Like it's just like they're there. But this one, I was like, as soon as she sat down at that table and it was the wrong table, I was like, bro.
I was shook by that moment. Wait, that was like one of my favorite moments. But then also, let me know what you rated it. I'm really interested to see what you rated it, if you finished it, if you have a rating for it. I also stayed up all night. I am that person who waits until the last moment to read a book, but this was like the perfect book to do it because I was just so like enraptured. That moment in the coffee scene. So for people who this isn't a spoiler, this is at the very beginning of the book, literally meeting the love interest. I also like how she referred to him as not Steve for a long time because she was supposed to go on a date with Steve, and she sat down all confident at the wrong table, just chatting it up with this guy, and he's like, I'm not Steve. What's happening? And she's like, I need to leave right now. Mortified.
Steve, like you're like like when he was like, we're obviously twins. I was like, you're not twins. That's the funny part.
It was so funny. It's like how you confuse a white guy and a black guy. Okay, good job.
I know. I honestly died. I was like, that's funny.
But I kind of wished in that moment that she had stayed with not Steve because there was just such a moment. That was such a picturesque, like rom-com moment of just.
I was like, maybe she'll just turn back around and pretend she didn't see him.
Like you can be Steve for tonight. It's like you're fine, you're cool.
I'll stay here. Like, let's have a conversation and drink coffee. Not Steve.
Yeah, I agree. Like it didn't give me rom-com vibes. It gave me romance, like maybe like that very serious romance of like life and things. And I'm like, cool.
Yeah, I get that.
Maybe I don't know. That might just be me because I'm a little sour, but.
No, it definitely didn't give me rom-com vibes. Like it wasn't, and I think the thing that I thought when I read it was that I appreciated what Chloe's character meant. I didn't necessarily like her like that. Like I wasn't in love with her character or anything. Um,
Mhm.
Mostly because there was just like something that I couldn't connect with her. But I liked Red more, and I thought like Red was a really fun character. But at the same time, I didn't with like this was like definitely fun romantic comedy. Um, like there were deep moments, but it was like lighthearted at the same time. And so I feel like that Chloe Brown didn't really have that. It was just kind
Oh,
of
yeah, the comedy was just not there.
it was
I mean, I connected with Chloe Brown, but, like, it was just, like, I connected with her in all the sadness, and I'm like, "I
I
wanna go romance."
I think also with that book, it was very like there were humorous moments, but I'm sure it was dry humor, so it just didn't. Sometimes
It's
it
exactly dry humor to a T. At one point, he says, "Oh, you're trying to be, like, humorous right now." She's like, "Yeah, that was a joke." I'm like,
so
super endearing, but not what I was looking for. But I'm happy for the representation and, like, that connection. I just felt like I connected to her for all the wrong reasons, like, for all the sadness and, like, feeling debilitated and stuff, and I'm like, "Ah, ah, panic."
yes, it's like a romantic dry comedy,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, which is why Make a Scene was so cute, and for the longest time, I didn't even get why it was called Make a Scene. I was waiting for that, like, light bulb moment of, like, "What scene are we making? What's happening?" So I thought it all built to a cute moment, like a traditional, like, really cute moment where it's like, they kind of don't expect love and they don't think they want it right now, or all that traditional mindsets when you're in your like late 20s. You're like, I'm focused on my career. I don't really want to like a romance or to think about getting married. And then they're like, I love you so much.
They're like, dang it, I got trapped. I didn't
Damn. It's like, why do I look so cute? What's happening?
realize. Feels hit dry calm, yes.
Dry calm. Yes, that is the new category of romance, the dry calm. That's a good title. My God. So let me why did you give it a 3 star? What else was it that without getting into too many spoils that like you were like, not scream worthy because I was over here screaming while reading this.
Yeah, and I enjoyed the main couple, so it wasn't even them or the story. It was mainly the I wanted more, but also I realized while reading it, but it's something I've thought about like over time too as I like experience books with this trope. But the I realized I really don't like. I guess it's a trope where like the main character's ex somehow ends up being with or dating a family member. It really bothers me because I'm like, how are you not fighting in the streets right now? Like, I literally would fight my cousin if this exact situation was happening to me. I'd be like, even if I was over the guy, it's the fact that like that there's like I don't know.
No boundaries. That there's a clear boundary that you don't
There's a
date other
boundary and
people.
you cross that. Like even if I did like if I was totally over this guy, I had no feelings, I still would be pissed because I'd be like, you know how much this relationship at the time meant, you know how much it hurt when we separated, and yet now you're like in a relationship with this same person, like it's nothing. Didn't even give me the like courtesy of having a
No.
conversation.
After a month, I'm just gonna post on Instagram that I'm dating your cousin.
I, I would disown people. I really would. Like I don't think I and like the fact like and we could probably talk about that one scene later. But like I maybe not disown, but I think I would really have a hard time trusting that family and a member again, especially if we were as like close growing up as like the book made it seem. Um
Yeah, and also the fact that her family was so annoying, like, their family, not really her family, but their
yeah,
family, and everyone's expectation of, like, "Oh, we thought you wouldn't come to the wedding and stuff because, like, you're still heartbroken or and upset." I'd be so mad at my family, like, "Why are you putting all the blame and emotional stress on me? And you're not mad at the cousin who took my ex." Like, I feel like that's such an unrealistic standard because I know if that happened in my family would be like, That's questionable. Like their family, not me for getting dumped. Like how would you be putting all
Exactly.
that pressure on me? So
My family will legit be like, "What is up?" Like,
Mhm.
especially it just would be, especially because my family's really close. So I'm an only child, but my aunt has like two other kids that are older than me, and like we like grew up together, and so literally now like we're all adults, but like my aunt and my mom have no problem coming into our lives and giving us like advice or telling us what do we need to do. Like my mom does it with my cousins and my aunt does it with me. So I feel like there would be in no way for this to like be a thing without them being like, what's wrong with you? Like,
Yeah.
what made you think this was a good idea at
Yeah.
all?
I feel like no one in her family had her back at all. And I agree with this. They were so passive aggressive and just like, it's like, I don't need that. I got dumped. You should be mad at the dude who's going around dating our family members. Like, but I also didn't like that. It wasn't like the girls were pinned against each other for most of the book. It didn't feel like that. It felt like she like just had some like residual anger over what happened. But I can totally understand why you'd be like really pissed. I would also be pissed if my family did that.
And it's like it's not about fighting over the guy. Like it's definitely not that. It's the boundary and
Yeah.
like disrespect. Like I feel like if we're family and you can do that, I feel like then you never had respect for me as a person, like or
Yeah.
about like my feelings or my thoughts, because that's just like for me personally, I could never, like my cousin's older first of all, so I probably wouldn't be ever really interested in guys that like she dates, but I could never see myself dating someone she broke up with, because that's
Even
weird.
like your close friends. Like I can't even imagine doing that to a friend of
Yeah,
mine, like
like
let alone a cousin.
like even in high school that was like more common. It weirded me out. I was like, I could never date a guy that dated my best friend. That's weird, especially because of the fact that like there's bound to be times where you had conversations about this person in aspects of your relationship, and like it's just, it's just weird in my head. It's just weird.
No, that totally makes sense. I didn't even think about that while reading it for some reason. I was so just wrapped up in like the main plot that I was like, "Oh, that's her
Yeah,
cousin."
yeah.
I would
I wish we had gotten a little bit more from that, like especially her family, because like you saw her parents, but like you really didn't really get to know them, and so I think that's why I gave it 3 star too, because I was like, I wish we it had been like, because I know it was like only 200 pages, so she probably could only do so much in that time frame, but I wish we could have maybe gotten more too in that, like more story, more like discussions, more conversations. I don't know.
I'm kind of hoping we hear from like I forget her cousin's name. Irene, maybe?
Yeah,
Her and Chris's story. Like I would love to hear their story, especially how it ended, but I won't say that just yet. I would love an extension of their story so I could get to meet their family in particular. Cause
yeah,
like Chris's mom, I was ready to stab with a fork. Cause I was
yeah,
just like, you don't talk to people like that. That's the best
exactly.
I've ever seen you. It's like, you saying I look like trash all the time? Excuse me?
Yeah, I'm also a big conversation person. So like when I see there like when there are issues in like books and stuff, I just like there to be a solid conversation where everything gets hashed out and then we're good. And I just didn't feel like in certain situations that didn't really happen in this book, and I wish we could. That's what I wish we could have maybe saw more of. Um,
Yeah, I didn't get that they were very close as cousins, to be honest. Maybe I just skimmed over that part.
it
Cause I
was
was like, when she left, I was like, okay, bye.
Yeah, because like at first, because when it first started, they were like, "Oh, you grew up together," and so I was like, "Oh, so they must be close." Mostly because of like how I am with my cousins, like we're really close and we grew up together, and I'm the youngest, so I was like, "Oh, they must be super duper close." But as the book went on, I was like, "Oh, I guess they're not as close." But at the same time, I'm like, is that because of this relationship that happened like a year ago, or is it just because of time? Like I don't know. I think that again.
True. A lot of questions are left open. Oh my God. See, my suspension of disbelief was so high. I was just like, yeah, F that cousin. And then halfway through, I'm like, oh, I guess I kind of feel for her. Okay, bye.
Yeah, I'm like, maybe this is because I'm used used to reading fantasy for the past couple months. So usually when things are happening, I'm like, why? What is happening? Why did this happen? What's the
What is
back?
the political intrigue in this
Yeah,
moment?
what's the suspiciousness happening? Like basically. So that's probably where I'm like where my mind's at, like that fantasy brain.
I love that so much. I literally have such a big contemporary like brain right now. So I'm all about like, who cares? Like, let's roll with it. Because after your years of reading contemporary, half the time like relationships just come together, and you're like, cool.
Yeah, I'm usually
I
like,
shipped
okay,
that
that's
fine.
yeah, and like now I'm reading. It's funny because I keep every time I pick up a fantasy and I experience like a love interest, I'm like, that's suspicious, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what's and so I think I carried that over to this book where I was like, this whole family's suspicious.
Okay, but you had reason to believe that because that was shady. Like literally everyone in the like engagement party and stuff. I was like, how rude can you be to be like,
Yeah,
I'm so surprised you came today? It's like, bitch, this is my cousin. You're my aunt. Like, don't talk to me like that.
like she was like they still asked her to do things for the wedding, like make the engagement party cake or whatever or the treats. Like that's so. Also, like I still like I admired that about the main character too. Like I like the fact that she was like I like willing and like determined to prove that to them that like she was like I'm not bothered by this. And at the end, like because at one point when um Duncan was like, oh, like he thought she still had like feelings. She like you could tell she's like you could tell she didn't have feelings for Chris. It was just the situation in its entirety that was like driving her nuts, which I got. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So
I like how it kind of went away from the traditional ideal of like trying to get your man back and all that stuff. Like I feel like sometimes romance can really fall into that really quickly. And she was just like, "No, I'm here to prove you all wrong because you guys keep saying to my face that like I should be feeling upset." And it's like I have my whole entire other life to live. Like I'm moving on. Like I got a bakery. I'm set up. Like
yeah,
what? It's
and
just so interesting.
I like that too. Like when she did have those feelings of just where she was just like this is weird, or like she just was just like I feel so like bad about this situation. It wasn't like she never like shamed herself for feeling that bad or anything like that either, because I know people would be like, well, you should have just moved on already, and it's just like, okay, but like how can I move on when they're literally in front of my face like 15 times a day, like
Yeah, and it's like I didn't have the space to like grieve the relationship peacefully either. So it makes sense. So I like that too about that whole like that she respected her feelings. Like, yeah, I'm allowed to be angry in the moment, like because of everything that's happened. It's messy, and I feel like people should expect her to be like semi upset at least. But I don't know, her family's just a little odd.
yeah, because I was even surprised, like, because I know if like I this happened to my family, like my mom would be like on my side. So that's why, like, when we met her parents, I was like, wow, they don't really seem bothered by this at all. Like, but again, it was brief, so I was like, I wish we had gotten to see more with like them in it too, and just maybe like had conversations with them. Like, I liked her
Yeah.
grandma.
Her grandma was awesome. Her grandma was the crap, man. She was like my second favorite character behind Duncan. I was like, you go, grandma.
Yeah. Also, I was trying to figure out, was she the grandma for this side of the family that the cousin was on, or was she on the other side of the? That's what I was trying to figure out because
I would assume that she is the grandma of like, yeah, of that cousin, because and then like she probably had like at least two or three daughters, because I think there was like three aunts.
okay, so that's what I was trying to figure out because I was like, she didn't go to the wedding.
She was like F that side of the family, and I was like, you go off, sis.
I was
Yeah,
like,
you
if my grandma didn't go to one of our weddings, it would be a whole issue.
yeah, but and then it was also really interesting how like easily the grandma felt like she's like, yeah, I'm not going. So it made me question like, oh, why didn't she just decide not to go if the grandma's not even going? But again, like to prove that she's like, you guys are making this more of a thing than I am.
Yeah, that's true.
But I wanted to ask you how you felt about the beginning. Okay, the beginning part of the book is my favorite. And this is kind of spoilery for some small moments, but the post-it notes. Was I the only one freaking out about that?
I was laughing when they were like, we thought it was passive aggressive threats. I was like, oh my goodness.
It's literally I like highlighted every post-it note moment because I just love how it kept coming back. So she wrote post-it notes because their businesses are next to each other, and he kept stealing parking spots from her. So she'd leave post-it notes on his car that apparently sounded passive aggressive, but it was like, please park somewhere else or whatever. And the fact that he gave her as a present on their first date, on their first fake date to start off their fake relationship, he gave her post-it notes. I died. I was like, this is so funny. And then I'm glad that she didn't take it the wrong way. Like, I feel like there's so many moments that could have been that traditional miscommunication trope thing, but there wasn't. It was like she laughed. She's like, you're right. I'm running out of post-it notes. I used a lot of post-it notes on your car.
Yeah, I like that she like kind of went with they both did, like within that relationship. They like at the beginning too, like they really went with the flow of things and just like kind of took it by minute, and there wasn't like a strategic plan to how they were gonna like I guess get to know each other or whatever too. From like the awkward first meeting. Honestly, that was probably my favorite part because he was like, "I'm not Steve," and she was like, "Oh." Like it was funny too because he was like, "Oh, I'm not Steve," and she was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. What's your name?" And he's like, "No, I mean, I'm not your date." And she was like, "Oh." And then he was like, "I think that's your date." And you turn around and there's a white man sitting there. I was like, it was just funny because I was like, that's such a big like confusion moment there. But that was
no, I agree 100%. And I also thought it was hilarious because that's some stuff I would do straight up. Like sit down and be like, "What's up, Steve?" And he's like, "I'm not Steve." I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry. What's your name?" And he's like, "No, no, I'm not your date. You're at the wrong table." And I'm like, something I would do. And I was sitting there and I was, that was such a precious, and it was just such a like cute and I feel like unique meet cute. Maybe I haven't read enough romance, but I thought it was great. I was like, this is just not what I was expecting.
yeah. And then I liked how like easy their first date was. So like with the bowling, and then they went to the fair, which I thought was cute, and then they went to the cake eating, which I was like, that's funny.
I'm like, who thought of this bright idea to do a cake eating contest? And I like how they're both questioning it, like, oh, this isn't smart, this isn't smart. And then they still do it and have fun. And I feel like that is such a just a like human thing to do, is just like, let's do something fun and immediately regret it. Like that was
And I like that they went in without any like preconceived notions as how it was gonna be or how they were gonna act. And it was funny when they were eating the cake because she kept like saying something like making comments about how weird it was or how like bad it tastes. Like she was like, "This tastes dry," and he was like, "Eat." He's like, "Eat the
there's
cake."
no time for your commentary, shove it down.
It was
It
funny.
was cute. It was really cute. And I also liked how it was in the sense of building that momentum because they only really had like what two fakeish dates at the beginning, but it still felt really real because they were like, "Hey, I don't want you to go. Can we keep hanging out?" And I'm like, "How do you guys not know you don't have feelings for each other in that exact moment where you're like, hey, let's keep hanging out."
Yeah, because I've been on dates before where I'm like, "This was nice, but I'm gonna go home now."
I need to
Like,
exit right now.
yeah, like not because I didn't want to, like not because I didn't have fun, but because I was just like, okay, time for me time. Like I want to go home and be by myself.
True, true. Yeah. And they were just like, no, I just want to spend time with you. Uh, oh, I love this. You got cooking skills? I want to see. I can't cook at all. Oh my God. But I loved all the baking stuff in this book. It made me feel like I should.
I could not have done that cake contest. I would have thrown up.
Cute dates. Yes, we love.
Yeah, honestly, especially when he rained and he was like, he gave her his jacket for her hair. I was like, he understands.
Okay, that one moment, I was like, this is true love. He knows how many hours I put into this.
Also, I was like a true black romance because
Seriously, yeah.
there have been moments where I have like read and I'm just like, they don't get it.
They don't
Especially
get
in movies.
it.
Dang, her hair gonna get ruined. All that work.
Oh, that was really cute. that like other whole like it was just all filled with so many like cute moments. I have like highlighted in my Kindle all these like little cute precious moments, and I think that's what made this story so enjoyable for me. Like I wasn't thinking logically about anything. I was just like back to back there's all these really really just cute moments, and I'm just like self-inserting myself. I'm like one day.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. And then I think the grandma was my favorite character because she was just funny.
Spicy. She was like, I don't like you. And then turns around like the next day, be like, I like him. He's good.
Especially when she was like, "You can't touch the coffee maker or the waffle maker or
With a
whatever."
toaster.
She was like, "You don't get to touch my kitchen appliances." Basically, she was like, "You get the couch. Good luck. You're
Good luck.
back."
Don't go up the stairs either. I can hear you.
I was like, "I can hear everything." I was like, "This is so funny."
Yeah, I also appreciated because it was finally someone from her family that like understood what she went through. Because it
Yeah.
makes me kind of question, like, do your parents know everything that happened to you? Because if her grandma was the one she went to during that hard time, it's like this is the one person she feels comfortable with sharing all of that. And that's why her grandma's so defensive. She's like, I don't want to have to pick up the pieces again. Oh, and then that one moment, it's not really a spoiler, when she made stew again. It was
Oh
just one line at the end of a chapter, like, I think it's night to make stew. I was like, I was ready to cry. I was like, no, not again.
I was like, "Oh man." But yeah, I like the fact that she warmed up to Duncan too. Especially like when he was like, "Oh, I can show you like exercises for your wrist for your arthritis." She was like, "Fine." Like, "Okay."
I'm not stopping you.
Yeah. That was funny. Yeah, I think I also liked the fact that like her her grandma made him work for it. Like she was like, "I'm not gonna like you initially."
Yeah, just because you say I'm cute doesn't mean you're a good person. I also like that. That kind of testing him. And I feel like that's like the point in the book when you can finally be like, oh, I do trust him. Because obviously, like fake dating and like he's been really hesitant about dating in the future and stuff. So I feel like it was a good test for like both of them. She's like, I'm not going to like you unless I know you're serious about my daughter. And she hears that too. And she's like, oh, am I serious about him? Because, you know, they were both talking to themselves about like this isn't real, this is fake dating, I don't trust my feelings. And the grandmas put it out all on the line. Do you love my granddaughter?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
She's hilarious. Same with the cat that stared at him while he slept.
Oh yeah, I just thought of that. I was like, that cat. He was like, I feel like somebody's watching me.
It's the cat. And I love just like, and again, those small little moments where it's like the cat is staring at me and he like spends a long time staring at it, trying to shoot away. And he's like, okay, it's fine. I'll go to sleep. And if I like die in a bloody puddle, then it's fine. Like that, like one sentence throwaway line. And it hit real hard. I'm like, oh, that's so funny.
I was like, wow, you really understands cats.
Because he's like, this thing can murder me. It's just like if it wanted to, just like the grandma would murder me if she wanted to.
Oh yeah. And then I think the other thing I liked was like the commentary with his parents.
Yeah.
That was really interesting, especially the party. I was like, that's an interesting twist to this type of like situation, having a party to celebrate.
So
But
weird. So like his parents trying to get divorced decide to have a party to keep it friendly. I also agree. I've never heard of that. I don't know if that's something like Mimi Grace literally made up or if that's an actual thing. I really hope it's not a thing. And no parent who's getting divorced asks their child to give a pleasant speech about their divorce. It's
yeah.
like, you did not just put me through all this just to pretend that everything's okay.
Oh yeah, my parents divorced. If they would have done that, I literally would have just walked away.
It sounds emotionally scarring.
Y'all are on crack if you think I'm gonna do any of this.
My God. And just because they're adults or like older or like, you know, whatever, it's like, no, you don't do that to people.
I'm like, there's no way I would ever give a speech like that.
Mm-hmm.
No, especially if I have to make it nice, because that's just too much.
Yeah, I did. I did enjoy that he spoke from his heart though, so that way he's not just carrying all the baggage of like having divorced parents. And I think that's the epiphany of I can have real love. And I was like, yes, you can. Pleasant
Yeah.
speech. LOL. It was a pleasant speech.
Oh, it's real?
It's a real thing? You're
That's
kidding.
wild.
I am mortified for any child or adult who has to go through that, because that's just divorce is already really sad and messy. But for children, I feel like it's a different kind of messy. So
Yeah.
why would you do that to anyone?
I don't think I could ever take part in something like that. I'd just be like, y'all tell me when you're done. I'm gonna go hide somewhere. Like,
Yeah, and power move, because it's like, because you have to respect your own feelings and listen to your own self and not do things always for others. It's like y'all are getting divorced for you. I'm gonna do what's healthy for me to keep my sanity. Salty.
yeah.
I was so bougie to have a party. Like,
Oh yeah. I was like, this is a lot. And just their whole family being there, I'd be like, this is kind of embarrassing. But okay.
so embarrassing.
But
No, but I'm also glad that no one like called him down and like tried to stop him from speaking his piece. Because like, if you're gonna make me do a speech, a dumb, stupid speech, I'm gonna give it 100% all. Like, I hated this. I don't like how this ended up. But yeah, my mom's cool, my dad's cool, so
yeah, like I would have been honest and be like, this is a lot and didn't like it. And yeah. Like can't be nice here, sorry.
Oh my god. So in this whole book, we're obviously talking about like relationships and like trusting each other and stuff. And I feel like even though this whole I feel like this book took a non-traditional romance path in the sense with like the fake dating trope where there wasn't that whole like miscommunication. I really loved at some point he was given the fact of like, oh, that's her ex-boyfriend that her cousin's marrying, and he went, that's irrelevant. I love that so much. I don't know if that hit you as hard as it hit me, but I was just like,
I
yes, a guy who understands that exes are exes.
yeah, I liked the fact that he was just like, well, that's not what I'm here to be worried about. And like, granted, he did get like a little jealous towards the end because of like circumstances, but like there was never a moment where he was like, oh, like I'm not gonna, because I was worried it was good because I feel like I've seen like moments like that before where someone's trying to like get a date to a wedding and then they learn that like whoever's getting married is their ex, and then when they learn that they feel like betrayed or lied to or whatever, and it's like, well, I mean, I'm not, they're like, I wasn't doing it to make them jealous, I didn't want to seem pitiful or whatever else. So it was kind of nice to see him just be like, I mean, like he was like, that's weird, but also not what I'm here for, so I'll
Yeah,
just
like I'm just here to comfort her. That's it. Period. That's all she asked me to do. And I thought that was so cool. And then I saw, wait, someone said that a lot of people do this, or that not they do this with not their families. That makes sense. I would understand having a party like after getting divorced and then hanging out with your friends. That makes sense to me.
or like going to like a bar or something, going out to drink,
Yeah.
going to dinner.
Okay, that makes more sense to me. Okay, and same, I'm so happy. Right?
Yeah,
So
because I was nervous he was gonna think he'd been like tricked or lied to. So I
I
was
thought that
like,
was gonna be the big turning point. I was really hoping it wasn't. So I was so happy that he was like, that's irrelevant. Made my heart just it
yeah,
fluttered. I was like, look at this, a man who's secure and knows where, like, I'm here for her. Like, that's it. Like, I'm not here to challenge anybody. And I did kind of like the subtlety in the scene of like my chest got a little tight because he like obviously likes her.
yeah,
Even though he hasn't said it out loud. I love the subtlety of just like, oh, my chest hurts a little bit if she still likes him, but you know, I'm here to comfort her. And he still, throughout the whole night, was being very gentlemanly and comforting because that's what he signed up for. That's what he
yeah.
kind of agreed to do. I clearly was very thrown by this book. I was like, this is everything I want.
Yeah, I did like that part because I was just like, it's it was a nice take of a different type of like way to do it. Because again, I've seen it where they've like been angry and they're like, I'm not doing this anymore, and then they like abandon the person, and then it's all and then it turns into miscommunication or whatever somehow.
Yep. Yep.
Um, so I liked that, like despite the fact that she didn't tell him, but he wasn't like upset. He was just kind of like, okay, that's a new aspect, but it's still not what I'm here for. Like,
Like, I still like you as a person, so I'm gonna hang out and chill with you. Like, you're the priority. I'm not here to deal with any other familial issues. And clearly she had them if she wanted a fake date for this thing in the first place. So he knew things were shady to begin with.
yeah, I also liked so like I wasn't sure how the whole since because in the beginning we did only saw the cousin briefly because like it was when she announced they were engaged. And so I liked the fact because I wasn't sure what was going to happen when we got like more interactions with her because a lot of the other thing I've seen with this trope or like and I think that's why I don't like it so much is that whenever the whole like family member dating an ex thing happens, it's usually because like whoever did the trope usually makes it that so that like that family member did it because they were jealous of the previous family member and it was like a whole thing. And so I wasn't sure how it was going to play out at the thing. I was like, oh, is she going to be like that jealous person that wanted like because like she's a whole like the main character is the older cousin, so I was like, oh, is she gonna be like, oh, I was jealous of you my entire life? I hate that. It's like kind of annoying. So I liked that it wasn't even like that. They legit just I guess fell for each other. Still,
Yeah, I really like that. In the end, and this is getting into like a little bit of spoilery stuff. So if you haven't finished it, I'm letting you know spoilers are ahead. I really like the conversation they had at the wedding because I think she didn't really know, like Claretta Retta, she didn't know where her cousin stood, and she finally figured out like it's like was it like about me ever? And she was like, no, I just happened to really like love the guy you once dated. And I'm happy it was out there like that because, like you said, it could have easily been like, I'm jealous of you, or I always thought you were prettier, all this like kind of really melodramatic things that I feel like aren't really true when it comes to like romance and like getting married and things like that. They're like, I'm not gonna marry the person you who dumped you because I'm jealous of you.
yeah, because I like granted like I was like she's better than me because I not that I couldn't forgive, but I don't think I could ever like be like, oh, we're solid again. I'd be like, we're just gonna stay in opposite corners during our family reunions, okay? Like I
If
can
she said she really, really loved that person, you would be like, I'm still gonna sit in the corner.
I'd be like, I respect that. Like not maybe not respect that. I'd be like again, it's because it's not about the guy and it's not about like the past relationship. It's about like the boundary. And I think it would still be just weird. And I'd just be like, I'm not gonna say you have to break up with this person because that's childish. We're all adults here, and like that's your decision or whatever. But I'm still uncomfortable, and so rather than make both of us uncomfortable, I'd rather like we can like I'm not gonna be like, oh, you can't come to any events or I'm not gonna go to the events. I'd be like, we can still exist in the same like vicinity rooms, whatever, but we're probably not gonna be as close if we ever were. And I would just like there's gonna be a reaffirmed boundary of just
It's like, I'm going to establish a boundary with you, my friend, because clearly
yeah,
you didn't hear the other one. No,
yeah,
that
it's
makes sense.
the
That makes sense.
whole like and that's just personally for me because I'm really big on like like loyalty or senses of loyalty or anything like that. So like if again also if it's a distant cousin, that's still weird but okay. But if it's someone that's it's a whole situation too that I know like circumstances all obviously are gonna have to take a part in to really know details or how you would act or whatever. But I just think it would get to a point where I'd be like I guess I'm happy for you. Like I'm glad y'all found what you wanted, but at the same time, I'm not going to put myself in a situation where we're both uncomfortable at the same time because at the end of the day, that's not cool either.
Yeah,
So
I also think it was a little weird that during her conversation, she was like, "Why did you come?" Like, It's weird to like that the whole time we've always been putting the pressure on her when it's like we're not reflecting on the person who did the act and
Yeah,
stuff like that. But yeah, and then if they did grow up, if they were close, these are all situations that I think were unclear, maybe intentionally to give us kind of like that illusion of they could forgive a little bit more easily. Because if
yeah,
we got more details, possibly it would be harder. But I don't know, maybe a little bit more realistic. Who
yeah.
knows?
Maybe that's the case too. And like someone said, like if there's a conversation, maybe if there was a conversation, I would have a better reaction. But
Mhm.
in this situation, there wasn't. So I literally would have just been like, yeah, no.
I feel like, especially if like the breakup was like literally because it said it in the book that it was a month later and she found out through Instagram and stuff. Like, I feel like if you know you're going to be public on social media, at least you could have sent me a warning or at
Yeah,
least like whilst dating the dude, being like, hey, I like can't hang with you because I think I kind of like the dude you're dating. So it's like, I need to back away. Like, check yourself. There could have been several conversational
yeah,
points.
especially
So
because like
I totally agree with you.
yeah, especially because in that aspect, like you are family, and so we're gonna be at family functions together, like, and with this wedding thing, like, I think I would try to take that slightly into consideration. Like, I wouldn't, not to say that she should have kept like beating herself up or anything like that, or like Irene, or like trying to baby the relationship or anything like that. Because again, you're all adults, so you're all gonna like react how you react and like do what you need to do. But I still wouldn't have. I don't know. There's just a lot of things that you have to take into consideration with this whole situation because it's
Yeah,
just
and I feel like she didn't do that for half the time. She was just smiling and being like, "Hi, oh my god, I can't believe you came." And it's
yeah,
like, "Are you my cousin or are you a backstabbing friend? Like, what's this
yeah,
about?"
especially with the engagement party and then like the similarities she was like noticing with the honeymoon and then the colors. I was like, that's
That was
weird.
weird, and it never came back, and I was waiting for her to be like, "I used some of your wedding ideas because I didn't have any." Because she kind of
Yeah,
mentioned in the conversation that she never dreamed of her own wedding at any point. So it's like, are
yes,
you using inspiration?
yeah. That's why I was wondering. I was like, well, was this your idea or was this his idea? Because he knew that these were things that Retta had probably talked about or wanted at some point. So I'm like,
Mhm.
then that goes in, yeah. Then it holds a
It's
whole,
weird territory to be like, I'm gonna copy my ex-girlfriend's like dream honeymoon. It's
yeah,
like
yeah,
whilst marrying her
then,
cousin, you guys got issues.
yeah. Because then and this is me coming at it from a psychology point of view, but like, then you got to look at the idea. Well, are we dating because you're projecting onto me right now, or what's happening? Like,
There's a lot of things we had, yeah. So it was a trigger warning. I was just like, there are red flag, being like,
yeah.
something's wrong here.
Just, yeah, the colors was weird. The colors, I was like, okay, maybe that's a coincidence. But then when she was like the honeymoon, I was like, that's weird.
I forget that quote about like once isn't a coincidence, but twice is. Whatever that quote is. I was thinking of that when I was reading it. I'm like, how could it be that similar?
Yeah, and then like so I was like debating his intentions too because I was like, okay. And then at the end when they finally had a conversation, I was like, I guess he was serious. But
I mean, I guess, but at the same time, no. I feel like that conversation didn't clear up anything for
it
me
really
personally.
did.
Okay, it didn't for you either? Okay, good.
I was kind of like, why are you sitting here crying, bro? Like I did it,
Yeah,
but
like, this is not my space to comfort you and whatnot. Like, I feel like Retta was just like someone who had to keep dealing with other people's projections onto her, like how he came in and he's like, "Is this how you felt?" Like, I feel so heartbroken. It's like, I don't have to comfort you. You left me. You wanted out of this relationship, dude. You can't come to me for any of this. Like,
exactly. And like I like that she when he was like, "Have you heard from her?" or like, "What did she say?" and she was like, "I can't tell you that."
I like she's so loyal. Oh,
I know the loyalty she didn't get.
She didn't get it, but she's still gonna be that person. She's like, I'm not gonna say what she said because that's your relationship. You guys have to figure it out. And also, it's good because I also was very worried that she would have to insert herself to kind of save the two, and that's way too much pressure on someone who had just been like, or not just been, but who had been dumped to
Yeah,
be
I
responsible to taking care of your cousin and your ex. That's
yeah,
such a weird place to be in. So I'm really happy she didn't say anything. She's like, that's on you.
just because I would have been like, I'm not unbiased enough to be able to do that in either situation.
Mhm.
And I liked I I did like the conversation at the wedding where they were talking, and I thought it was intriguing to see the cousin have that breakdown where she was just like, I don't even know if I really want to get married. Like I don't understand. Like I don't understand why, like what this is or what I'm feeling. So
Yeah.
I was like kind of glad she had those, like not glad the guy got stood up, but um I was I kind of like that she was having those thoughts where she was like, I'm only like 24. It was She was like, I'm almost 30, but she was like, I'm only 24.
That
I
was
like
such a favorite line of mine. I'm
yeah, because
almost
I
30. She's 24.
yeah, because I'm 24, so I probably would have been like, what am I doing here in a white dress? Like I don't
Mhm.
even like when did this happen? How did I get here? Like I don't know if marriage is even like something I want right now. So like that's I
Yes,
like
putting yourself in her shoes, it's like, yeah, I'd have a freak out. And I just love the fact that we didn't have that traditional wedding ending because I feel like sometimes we also have that. We had like a divorce and the wedding mishap and stuff, and like them kind of being like, okay, let's start from the beginning and start dating. Like it wasn't all like quick to marriage because I feel like sometimes romances can be like, we're in love, let's get married, or someone gets married, or something like big, like commitment romantically, like, and that's just not the case for a lot of romance in real life. I feel like it's very bumpy and messy, and it's like I kind of liked how this one was a little bit messy in a sense where it's like we don't need a big frilly wedding or big frilly declaration of feelings. It's like, nah, I like you. Let's go do this.
Yeah, and I like the fact that she didn't get like Reddit didn't get blamed. Because I was like, as soon as she went back in and was like, she's gone, I was like, crap, they're gonna blame her. Cause like she was the one they were all like, oh, worried about. But I was glad like nobody did. Because I could have easily seen that happen where they were like, what did you say to her? Like blah blah blah. But
No,
I
yeah, everyone actually, but everyone finally respected her opinion and being like, okay, the bride's run away, and like trusted her at face value. Because I feel like this whole book, no one has believed anything she said. Like, oh, I don't think you have a date, or oh, I don't think you're dating, or whatever the case may have been. It's like, oh, it's like we trust that you wouldn't f up this situation because it's not about you, it's about someone else. So I
yeah.
really like that. Like, finally, your family came out and like helped her.
Yeah, when it was too late.
Way too late, years too late, or year, or 6 months, or whatever, too late.
Yeah, and I like that she wasn't like vindictive either when she saw what's his face up on the altar. She was like, "Dang, that sucks." Like she wasn't like, "Yes, he's like gotta be unhappy." She was just like, "That sucks," and this is
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, it showed how endearing she was because she like even wanted to reach out and help him because she knows how it feels. It wasn't about like revenge or getting under someone's skin. It was just about like these are real people and real feelings, and real life is can be really messy, and like I understand and I kind of feel bad. And I don't know, maybe because she was the older sister, she was able to feel, or not older sister, older cousin, like because of her age and having had those relationships in the past, that she was able to be like, I don't wish that on anybody, even if someone who did me wrong. I was like, that's such a mature approach that I never see. And I'm like, I like it.
Yeah, especially because I think it was also like the thing with the Bake Off. I was like, oh man, I was glad she got the money because I was like that I was actually wondering that before he had asked the question. I was like, does still get the money if they didn't air her season? But I was glad that he asked that question because I was like, okay, could. But also I was like, that sucks that like she didn't get the exposure that I could have given her.
Yeah,
Like,
that's shitty because that's like a career, like a whole setup for your whole career. And I'm just like, I was so pissed. I was like, I could totally understand how this could be, really disheartening. And yeah, I'm really happy she got the money too. But I would have been like, sending out some emails like, hey, so how do we get this? How do we get this
honestly, I
rolling?
would have been like, why don't y'all just release it on YouTube like the
Yeah,
last season or something?
Yeah, because now if they hold it, they're not even going to get the money they would have got if they had aired it because of the ads and stuff. So they lose tons and tons of money by just holding on to it. So I'm like, that's dumb.
It's like there could have been better marketing with this.
Could have stripped his name from it. Been like, he's fired. Okay, here, enjoy our baking show. Like, yes, they could have done that. That would have been too easy.
I guess, yeah. But I liked that like the baking was incorporated too. Like you at the like towards the end you saw Duncan baking those scones badly.
I really appreciated that because he finally understood how hard it was, that it's not like something cutesy or anything like that. It's like, oh, this is hard.
Yeah, and I liked like he wasn't like I wasn't sure if it was gonna be weird because like he's into fitness. So I was like, oh crap, is he gonna get all weird because sugar and all that kind of stuff, or like be one of those people? But he was all chill about it. He was like, ooh, I need more food.
Ooh, I love food. Hey, you gotta appreciate it because food's good. But hello, I'm glad you liked the book. Oh my god, that makes me so happy. If you guys are still watching and commenting and stuff, let me know if you like the book. I would love to see because I sometimes feel like I hope you guys are liking the book choices. And the voting for the March book will be tomorrow on the Twitter. So make sure you follow on the Twitter. Follow the Twitter account so you can see the poll and vote for the March book. I'm really excited for it. I really enjoy this book. I think I'm gonna have to give it a 5-star. I was literally squealing all the way through it. Like I really loved all the baking scenes, and when they were having all their like meet cutes or when they were thinking about each other, I was just like, I'm 100% behind this book and how it feels. So I'm like very excited if anyone else loved it.
Yeah, I definitely liked the relationship. I feel like the other things I was a little iffy on, but the relationship aspect I really did enjoy. And like the scenes with just them in it were like some of my like so cute and I just love them.
Yay. That's so great. I'm so happy to see people liked it. Yay. March theme, I think I'm just going to do a springtime theme. I think I'm going to do like a YA contemporary. I'm trying to find some like affordable backlisted YA contemporaries still. I have like a list of 6 that I have to like figure out which ones would be more available in libraries and stuff because I hate when book clubs make people pick really expensive new books. That's like something that grinds my gears, but we'll see. But I definitely want to do something springy because it's like winter's coming to an end during March, and our live show will be at the end of March as well. I'll like link down the details below. So there's not really a theme besides like springtime. So hopefully we get another cute book, maybe. I'm sorry, I'm such in a cutesy, like romancy mood. I know fantasy is your thing, Alana, right now, but I just my little heart. I need the hand holding and all the kisses.
It's okay. They're cute moments of fantasy.
They're true, but they're like after someone else gets murdered or goes to battle.
Okay, majority of the time, but there's that like 1% of time when it's not.
There's that 1% you get 99% like battles, political intrigue, all that stuff, and then there's that 1% where they like finally get to hold hands, and then someone dies. Oh, and someone else liked the book. It was really nice to have a book without any sort of trauma mentioned. It was just them living their life, being really cute, and just like the normal, regular day-to-day issues that people have. That's
Yeah.
I agree.
I definitely did like that aspect, like not having to deal with any black
Yeah.
issues that are usually brought up in books.
Yeah, especially Black romance. I'm like, we don't need that. Life is hard enough. And like I totally respect that there are books out there that have that representation because it's true. There can be a lot of trauma in people's lives, in anyone's life. But it's like when there's always books being established only on trauma, it becomes a problem. It's like that narrative isn't true. It's like there's so many other things in life that can be mentioned and things like that we're missing out. So I really appreciated that this book was very kind of normal in the sense that they were like, I don't know how often people fake date, but I have a feeling weddings, there are a lot of people who will have a fake date, but
it was a nice distraction too. Like from those books with Black trauma, like normally those are okay, like good to read just for the importance of them, but it's nice to have books that aren't based around that to distract you from daily life traumas.
Yeah, because books are some books are supposed to be just fun and escapism. Yeah. Oh my god, I remember this book. Didn't you told me about this book and I've read it. Oh my god, I have to try and remember it.
Cute. I liked it. It was not what I was expecting, but that's okay. Like, I think I gave it 4 stars.
4 stars? I think I ended up giving it 3 stars. I can definitely still try and maybe put it on the list and see if people want or interested in it, because I also think it's affordable, at least the ebook. I think I remember it being affordable during my research. But yeah, definitely in the contemporary mood, and I hope you guys are too after reading this book. Like, I need more like romance. We'll get into fantasy, like, I don't know, during the summer when we're bored of people being romantic and nice to each other.
Oh, Lord. That's funny.
Yeah. Oh, and let us know if you have any other questions. Otherwise, we'll wrap up the live show soon because we're almost up to the hour. So yeah. But I don't know. I like literally can't think of anything about this particular book that I don't like. I'm just like floating on cloud 9 right now. I'm like, it was all so precious. And I really, really excited for freaking Anthony's story, because Anthony kept during the book his little hints about him liking Gwen.
Yeah. I was like, what's that? And
I'm here for it.
I think I wanna see the like a story about her one friend, not Kim, but
Naya?
Naya. Yeah, I almost said Nikki for some reason. Yeah, Naya. I would love to see a story from her, since she's such like a not a workaholic, but she's like so into her job and everything.
Yeah, and it was really interesting too because like at one point we mentioned how hard the influencer social media life is. It was like one throwaway moment in the bakery that happened. So and then Naya's character comes in. It would be a really interesting story to explain how difficult it is to have relationships when you are like a runway model or an influencer and you're making lots of money, sure, and you have a very glamorous life, but it's like at home, how many people are real, how many people got your back. Like it would be really interesting to explore. I feel like most of the characters that were introduced besides the main two could easily have their own whole side plots, because I'd even be interested in Duncan's parents' story. I'd be really interested to hear what the hell made them keep fighting up for their love. I want to know.
Or like the grandma story with her like 3 divorces or whatever. I was like, what's that?
That sounds funny. I would love, like, they were all really precious and really fun.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so if we don't have any more questions, we are going to wrap up the live show. And I just really want to thank Alana here. I'm clapping, applause, clapping, yay, yay. Thank you so much for coming and joining. And I'm glad you enjoyed the book for the most part. And it means a lot that you came on here to talk with me and everybody who came. I really appreciate everybody who came and participated in comments, because it's always really fun to see what you guys thought. And yeah, voting for the March book will happen tomorrow. Yeah. Oh, they can't wait. I can't wait either. I'm always so excited to talk with you guys. So yeah. Thank you again, Alana. And we will yeah. Oh, thanks. I'm glad you guys thought it was fun. I will see you guys next month for the next live show. Thank you. Bye.